Yo, what's going on, guys? In this video, we're going to be doing Ganana 1 from VulnHub. This is a box word about medium. And yeah, let's get on to the video. I'm going to start by opening my terminal here. I'm going to start running a discover -r 10.0.0.1 from a gateway /IT0. Doing this, we do get the IP of the box 10.0.0.208. So I'm going to start by, I'm going to do Control-Shift-Z and start by running mmap scan. So do mmap -SC for default scripts, -SB for enumeration. I'm just kind of put in the IP. I already did run this mmap scan, so I'm just going to more into output.txt. This seemed like we did port 22 open or port 22 closed for SSH. Port 80 open for HTTP. This is running Apache. Does seem like we also do have WordPress 5.4.9. I also do have port 443 for SSL, HTTPS. So do have a 6777 for FTP. It does seem like they did change the original FTP port, which is from port 21 to port 6777. It did log in as anonymous FTP, and it did log in as a user as FTP. By default, I do know you can log in with anonymous, but it did log in as FTP, which the password or the username and password is just FTP, which is by default. So I'm going to start by visiting port 80. Visiting port 80, we do have this picture here. I'm going to do Control-E to use the source code. Doesn't seem like we do anything. I'm also do Control-F for WordPress. And down here, it does seem like we do have WordPress, which is running WordPress 5.4.9. It does seem like WordPress did get that as WordPress 5.4.9. I'll just copy this and start by doing some enumeration. So I'm going to start by running GoBuster. So the GoBuster dir mode -u will then enter the IP address -w for /user share wordless. We'll do the GoBuster directory. List 2.3 medium.txt. We'll do extensions as HTML, TXT, and also PHP. Doing this, I already did run a GoBuster, so I'm just going to more into GoBuster. Here we do have a WP-content, WP-admin, WP includes. We do have a /register, so I'm just going to copy this. So by visiting /register, it does seem like it does redirect to a /secret. Here we can start by doing some enumeration, doing like admin. It does seem like there's a plugin installed because there is an error. Another way to enumerate is going to lost your password. I'm going to try admin and just show there's no account with that username. We do know that admin is not a default user on this WordPress site. So doing here, this is a perfect way to start by enumerating for some users. Another way we can start by doing some enumeration is doing, if I see it into my documents, go to WP scan. You can either use like the normal WP scan, or you can be like me and just run the Ruby WP scan RB, which is faster. So I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to change this to HTTP. I believe the IP address is 10.0.0.208. This is 208. Okay. Look at the GoBuster. We do have a /secret. We did have a PHP my admin. So 10.0.0.208 on PHP my admin. And here we do have a username and password required. We also do have a /secret. We do have a tasks.txt. It does seem like we do have a user as Jarrett Lee as the first and last name. It does seem like they did leave a pcap.ng file. So doing this, I'm just going to copy this, see if we can start by doing some enumeration so we can find a user on the WordPress site. Looking at WP scan, it doesn't seem like it did find a user on here. So we did go under that lost password, which was lost your password. We can enumerate for user. By default, WordPress passwords or WordPress usernames are all lowercase. So I'm just going to go to Jerry Lee, get a new password. And you do see that the email cannot be sent. So we do know that Jerry Lee is a valid user on this WordPress site. So I'm going to copy this and just put that in there as a user. I did find a pcap.ng file. So I'm guessing this is for Jarrett. So I'm just going to put Jarrett followed by the extension, which is a .pcap or pcap.ng. So I'm going to copy this and curl this on here. So I'm going to clear my terminals here. I'm just going to curl this. Or I got to output that using curl. So I'm just going to wget. We do have our Jared.pcapng. So I'm going to open this within Wireshark. So I'll do Wireshark Jared pcapng. And it does seem like we do have a bunch of packets here. We do have DNS, TCP. Do we have HTTP? Does seem like we do have a lot of HTTP requests. By the top of my memory, I don't know the filter for this. So I'm just going to search up like filter post request Wireshark, which we can just use this one here. I'm going to copy this, put this into the filter. And all this http.request.method is going to equal to post, which is only going to be for post request. And it does seem like we do have this /login. So I'm going to move this up, open this HTTP form URL encode. Clicking here, we can move this up and down. And we do have the form item, which we can copy the value. We do have a log. So I'm just going to go to follow TCP stream, which we do have Jerry Lee, no password. It does seem like this is a incorrect password. I'm going to start by checking for the other one here. I'm just going to go to follow TCP stream. And this is incorrect. Also did have, I'm going to follow this one, which is TCP stream. This is false, which is incorrect password, which the password is password space Jarrett. Also do have one more post request. Or two more, so we can go to TCP stream. This is incorrect. So we can go to follow, go to TCP stream. And here we do have a success. And this is a redirect to wp-admin, which does mean that we do have a valid username and password on this WordPress site. So the log was Jerry Lee. So I'm just going to copy that, put this into WordPress, which we didn't know that this was a valid user. I'll put this as Jerry Lee. And we also did have the password. I usually like going to, I just go here, go to copy value. I can just place that in there, delete that, put that in there, delete that. We can just delete all this. We log in. And it is indeed a WordPress password at username. So now we are logged in as Jerry Lee. Looking down here, we do have a keep this secret here, which does seem like this is a type of encoding. I'm just going to go to CyberChef. Usually when I do have a hash that I don't know what it is, I just like going to decode and just show all the decode here from base 64. And we do have a super secret password. So I'm just going to click here so we can output it to a file, but I'm just going to copy this. We did have a PHP my admin here for, I'm just going to try this as admin, followed by the password. We also did have a user as Jerry Lee. Since this is WordPress, I'm going to see if we can find like a WP_users. So I'm going to go bitnami_WordPress. Since we are under the database. So here we do have we did have a WP_users. We did have I'm just going to go to edit here. We did have a user as Charlie Walker. That should be a valid user. I'm just going to go back, go to lost my password. It does seem like that email couldn't be sent. So we do know this is a valid user, which it should be. I'm just going to refresh this, log out. Put this as Charlie Walker. We don't know this hash, but let's see if we can put our own hash. So I'm just going to I'm just going to open this in hash identifier. And we do see this is MD5. So I'm just going to search up like MD5 encode hash. I'm going to put this as pass, generate, copy this, put this into that PHP my admin. That as our own password, go to go. And it does seem like one row was affected. Here's the command, which we just show that the rows were affected. So I'm just type in pass. You do see that this is now a valid password since we did change the password or the hash for Charlie Walker. Doing this, I'm going to go to plugins. We're going to go to add new. We're going to go to upload plugin. Here we can browse for a .zip format. So I'm just going to go to browse. We'll go to documents. We'll go to malicious WordPress plugin. Go to malicious.zip. Go to install now. Activate this plugin. We'll go to plugin editor. We'll edit this wet work underscore maybe.php. So I'm just going to delete all this here that we do have here. Cancel this. I'm going to cat from /op shells WordPress shell.php. We'll copy. We'll put this in here. We'll update that file. And now we can just copy this path, which we can later on curl, or we can send this within burp. So we did have HTTP 10.0.0.208. And we did have, I believe, WordPress plugins are stored under WP content. We did have plugins for malicious web work underscore maybe.php. It does seem like this is a valid path. So I'm going to do $CMD is equal to IID. And now we are under daemon. Let me start by saying this within burp. You can then go next, start burp. I'm just going to go to proxy, go to options, go to my specific address. We're 10.0.069. Press enter on that. Send this to repeater. Send that. Now we're under daemon. So usually when I do have CMS for WordPress, I like setting a reverse shell from Pentest Monkey. I'll do Control F for temp. Copy that. So we do have our IP address as 10.0.069 on 9001. So I'll do Control U. I'm going to start with my listener. So I'll do all around and cat -LMVP on 9001. Now we can send that. We do get a shell and we're under daemon. So I'm going to start by exporting my term. Is equal to xterm. I'm going to start running a bin/bash -i. I'm also run a sudo -l. It does seem like we do need a tty, so I'll do python 3 -c. We'll start by importing pty. We'll just run a bin/bash. Run a sudo -l. Put that in there. And it doesn't seem to work. So I'm cd into /home. We did have a user as Jared Lee. So I'm going to be trying a password reviews on his user, which we can go to, I believe this was, we did have this value here. So I'm just copy that, go to copy value. Put that in there. I'm just going to delete that. Now we do have this password. So I'm going to switch users to Jared Lee. So Jared Lee, put the password in. We do ID. Now we're going to do the user as Jared. So I'm going to do sudo -l. Doesn't seem like we can run anything as sudo. I'm going to go under /opt. I'll do ls -la. Doesn't seem like we do anything under there. Does seem like we do have a .backup. So I'm going to cat this out. I'm going to copy this and see what type of decoding this is. I'm going to put this into CyberChef, maybe from base64. And we do get a hash here. So I'm going to copy that, put that into, I'm just going to put this into a hash.txt. And we do have a user as Javon, which we don't have a home directory for him. If I do an ls-la on home, we only have a user as Jerry Lee. So I'm going to count my /etc password to confirm this user. We do indeed have a user as Javon. So I'm going to cat the hash.txt. We do have his hash here. So I'm going to vi into hash.txt. Just make sure we do have it in there. So I'll do John -minus word list is equal to /user share word list rock u.txt and specify hash.txt. We can do John minus show for hash.txt. We do have a password as Hannah Montana. So I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna switch users to Javon. Put the password, and now we are under the user as Javon. So I'm gonna run a sudo -l, see if we can have anything, see if we can run anything as sudo. Doing ID. It does seem like we could run Docker. So I'm just gonna go to hack tricks. We'll just search up Docker. We can go to this Linux privilege escalation. This is the article that I first used. So we can just go to do Control F for mount. Looking here, we do have the Docker group, which we can mount the root file system to the host machine for the instance volume. You can list up the Docker image if there's Docker images available. Here we're going to be using Docker. If I go back to my terminals here, we do have the group as Docker 115. We can mount this for /root and mount this under /mount. For the image name, I usually like changing this to the host name. In this case, we do have a host name as Debian. As we're going to mount and run a bash, so I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to start by changing the image name, so I'm just changing this for Debian. Press enter on that. This should run a Docker instance. We do ID. We can cd into root ls. We can cat a root.txt. Now here we do have root.txt, but if you do notice, we are still inside that Docker container. Usually in my past videos, I usually try to privilege escalation. I try to get root like a persistent shell within the /etc password. In this case, I want to change it up a little bit and do this within the /sudo file. Doing this, we can just copy this and put this as the user as Jared Lee. So I'm just going to echo. Between the space here, we do have like probably like 5 spaces between here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we did have a user as Jared Lee. Now I want to put this, not overwrite it, but just put this under /etc sudo file. So now we can cat that file out. You do see that we do have a user as Jared Lee. So I'm gonna exile this. Exile this. I'm gonna run a sudo -l. We did have the password here, so I'm just copy this. Put this in here, or switch use, or do sudo -l. Put that password in. And you see that we can run sudo. So now we can do sudo switch users, cd into root ls, and cat a root.txt. So here we do have we are under the real file system, and we're not inside a container, which we just did with the /etc sudo file. All I did was use Jared Lee, and we can run any command as sudo. So all I did was sudo switch users. Now we are under root. Well, guys, that's pretty much in the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.